Yep.
Yes, the number of printed copies. I'm in the doghouse.
Calling the regular meeting on Wednesday, July 24th at 7:01 p.m. to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher. Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris. Here. Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Here.
All right, Madam Clerk, please read the adequate notice.
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by the annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, Desi Talk, News India Times on December 12, 2023, and posted Main Lobby Municipal Complex on that same date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. May I have a motion to approve the 2 minutes?
Motion to approve?
May I have a second?
Second.
That's a motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Shmuel. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. As for the Council President's remarks, I don't actually have much. Just once again, a reminder that you are only allowed to speak when you're recognized, and if you speak out of turn, I will give you one warning, and after that, I will ask the police officers to remove you from the room. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution of recognition.
Whereas BAPS, Swamaran, Sanditha, excuse my BAPS, is a worldwide Hindu dedicated to fostering faith, inspiring services, and promoting better lives. His Holiness Maharaj, 1921 to 2016, established the first BAPS Hindu in the United States of America on August 4th, 1974 in New York City. And whereas 2024 marks 50 years of service and faith in the United States for BAPS, over the last 50 years, BAPS has grown over 100 mandates across the United States. They offer welcoming and spiritual spaces for thousands of families, as well as worship, fellowship, meals, education activities for young and old, and creating a true home for the faithful. And whereas BAPS offers youth activities that encourage and mold young people to live lives and character that reflect our highest ideals. BAPS brings His Holiness Maharaj's words, "In the joys of others lies our own," to live through support of those in need through a variety of community efforts such as health fairs, food drives, or disaster relief work. BAPS adds to the rich tapestry of diversity that makes America and Edison, New Jersey, a beautiful place to call home. The BAPS in Edison is a proud example of how houses of worship contribute to the well-being of our congregants and local communities. And whereas BAPS in Edison hopes to serve its congregants and the local community with even greater zeal in the next 50 years and beyond. Now therefore be resolved, the Municipal Council congratulates BAPS and declares August 4th, 2024 as BAPS Day in the Township of Edison.
All right, this will open up to the public for any comments. All right, seeing. Come on up.
Good evening. On behalf of
Just your name and address, please.
sorry, Natasha Patel from Piscataway, New Jersey.
You're recognized.
Good evening. On behalf of BAPS, we would like to thank the mayor, council, and the people of Edison for this proclamation and for their continued support and partnership with BAPS for over 3 decades in Edison. BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha is a spiritual, volunteer-driven fellowship dedicated to improving society through individual growth by fostering the Hindu values of faith, service, and good harmony. Established in 1907 in India, BAPS laid its foundation in North America in 1974. And throughout the past 50 years, it has grown to over 100 centers serving the needs of the community fostered by harmony and peace. BAPS has held walkathons, healthcare lectures, medical and blood drives, in addition to providing fresh meals and personal protective equipment to our healthcare workers during COVID-19 pandemic. BAPS has its roots in Edison, with Middlesex College allowing us to host the Cultural Festival of India, fondly remembered as CFI, in 1991, which attracted over 1 million people. And since then, Edison Township has continued to support our BAPS organization. Again, we would like to thank the people of Edison, elected officials, past and present, for their support and commitment to BAPS's mission in the joy of others' lives our own. Thank you, and just Ryan.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak? Come on up.
Joy Ship Freeman, 41 Main Street.
You're recognized.
I would like to thank BAPS a lot. I'm not going to attempt to try to say the name because I don't want to butcher it, so I'll just go with BAPS. And I thank you guys for all of your help during COVID. Everybody was so ready to serve. You helped us out a lot. And I do like all the charitable stuff that you do for Edison. And I like the charitable stuff that you do that extends beyond Edison. And we'd like to have, your involvement in most of the things we do. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you.
Charles Tamaro, Waverly Drive East, Edison, New Jersey.
You're recognized.
Thank you. 30 years ago, BAPS was looking for a place to call their home. And at that time, Mayor Sam Convery and my father-in-law, Tom Paternetti, worked together with BAPS, Praful Raja, to find a building for them. And the building was 2500 Woodbridge Avenue, which used to be called Model Rectifier. It was owned by my stepfamily, and where they used to manufacture toy trains and different toys for everybody. And the building was abandoned at that time, and it was run down, and it looked terrible. And they negotiated with BAPS, and they turned the building into what it was at that time. A beautiful place for their parishioners to come and worship their religion. And not only did they just worship their religion, but they've given so much back to the community, whether it was the Edison Fire Department, the Edison Police Department, the EMTs in our community, constantly, raising funds for them and giving back. And they also helped the Hands of Hope Food Pantry with many food drives during a time when it was tough to have food for the food pantry. And I'm here to thank them for all they've done for our community and to continue what they've done. They have 110 different manières throughout our country with over 40,000 parishioners, but I know there's millions of parishioners throughout the world, and it's great for what they do with their walk for family values that they do once a year, and hundreds of parishioners come out to do the walk and give back to our community. So we thank them. I thank them for all they've done for our community, and I especially thank them for what they've done for the Hands of Hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Anyone else that would like to speak?
Thank you. Biral Patel, 11 Stanley Place.
You're recognized.
Thank you to members of the council for this recognition. Very much appreciated. And pretty much all of you have been to the beautiful mandir at 2500 Woodbridge Avenue. Mr. Shmuel, whenever you are ready, please join our mandir with your fellow council colleagues. I'm sure you will have a wonderful experience. So your invitation from all of us whenever you guys can stop by, and all of you have invitation to our beautiful mandir at Robbinsville, New Jersey as well, the Akshardham. Thank you so much for the recognition.
Thank you, Bira. Anyone else that would like to speak? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion close.
May I have a second? Sorry. Who was the second?
That was
That was a motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Pointer. Any council comments?
Yes. Council President?
Yes.
Yes, I would just like to welcome you here and thank BAPS for all the philanthropy that they provide to this community and everywhere else. We are so proud to have you here in Edison, and you are true heroes to us for all that you do and all the people that you help and that you assist. So thank you so much for everything, and we're happy to recognize you with this ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Anyone else?
Council President,
Councilman Coyle?
first I want to recognize the Commissioner Charlie Tamaro that's here that spoke, and also our Board President, Bira Patel. I'm not as old as the Commissioner, but I was around in 1991 when I had the chance to eat the best food in India at this major event that the township helped out with. And what a spectacular, just the fact that all the leadership who came across the globe to Edison, I mean, we truly were put on the map. And I want to just thank all the people involved in BAPS from the beginning till now, and the building today, and all the volunteers who put their time in away from their family and sacrifice hours and hours. And as most people do know, and some who may not, what they do there is done with their own time. Their building is done through all volunteers, and it's incredible if you get a chance to walk through there and see this structure and all the great things about it. So I'm happy to have seen this in the beginning in '91. I'm happy to see where it is today, and I'm also thankful for the culture that you keep and continue to teach our young children, and it's wonderful. It truly is. And I'm also thankful for all the things I've learned, some language, some good food, and all the great people all of us on the dais have met here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle.
Council President,
Councilman Pointer?
thank you. I'll just reciprocate what my colleagues have said, what the speakers had mentioned. I take pride when organizations pride themselves on culture and bringing that here, because there's something to be said about maintaining identity and heritage and just having a remembrance of how things came to be. So I find that to be very important, and I thank you for that and what you do within your culture. Additionally, what you do from a philanthropic standpoint. Anytime that people take their own time, as Councilman Coyle had said, to dedicate for public good should always be recognized. So I thank you for that. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Anyone else? All right. As for me, I just want to say BAPS has served as a cultural center, helping us to keep our culture. Not only do they offer, teaching kids Gujarati, which is my language, and I hope to continue that down my generation. They also help many others learn piano. I just found that out recently. So it is a great center to have in our community. It serves as a force of good. And I am glad we have a BAPS center in our community. It makes it feel like home for many of our community residents. That's it for me. And let's take a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second?
So that's motion by Councilman Patil, second by Council Vice President. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. And I would like to ask Councilman Patil to present the recognition.
Thank you. Councilman Coyle, you want to join? All of you can come, someone can take the picture.
Picture or video?
And thank you, BAPS family, for coming here. This is a token of recognition, I would say token of love from the elected officials. I would say, with Pramukh Maharaj Swami's word, Das in Das, das and das. That's actually is the underlying. Make sure that you serve the people around you. Community is important for you. It doesn't matter who that person is, but it's very important that we all should be united together, serving each other, making sure they are happy. And that's what one of the speakers said. Joy of others, make sure you see that in yourself. That's also a very important thing. BAPS Parivar, I call as a family, is not just in Edison, but it's around the world, have thousands and thousands of volunteers spreading the message of love and peace and doing an amazing community job, whether it's a healthcare related, food pantry, you name it, helping the community. That is the underlying cause here. Congratulations. I know I may not be able to say a lot because I'm a very small, tiny guy in the ocean in BAPS family, but whatever you do around us is wonderful, amazing. It's definitely a value add to the society in Edison and Middlesex County and all around the America. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm very happy that the work of BAPS is recognized.
Can we get one picture?
The clerk's going to come.
Thank you. Thank you.
One more for the clerk.
Okay.
Anyone want to say anything, the final word?
Yes, again, I just want to thank to the mayor and the entire council members and being such a great township being in Edison, and we feel so proud to be here. And we've been here since 1991. I'm also volunteer since in a BAPS since 1998, and I also own a business in a township of Edison also. So being so feel like a home being in a town of Edison also. So really want to thank you, bottom of my heart, that what you guys do every day, and we are also try to be help as much as we can also. But the support we get from you, it's amazing. We cannot have it, what enough to be thanked. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to number 7, unfinished business, ordinance for further consideration, public hearing, and final adoption. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2225-2024.
An ordinance amending the 1000 Inman Avenue redevelopment plan in the Township of Edison pursuant to the local redevelopment law and housing, NJSA 40A:12A-1.
All right, this will be open to the public if anybody wants to make a comment. All right, seeing none, may I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Pointer. Public portion is closed. May I have motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilman Coyle, second by Council Vice President. And any council comments? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. All right, Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2226-2024.
An ordinance adopting the 1810 Route 27 redevelopment plan, Route 27 and Schuyler Drive study area, Block 160C, Lot 18.01, pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-1.
All right, this will be open to the public if anybody wants to make a comment. All right, seeing none, may I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close.
Second.
All right, so motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Coyle.
No, everything's approved.
Okay. Any council, did we motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
And that's motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Pointer. Oh, Councilman Shmuel.
Okay.
Sorry. And any council comments?
Council President?
Yes.
For those that are familiar with this area, it has not exactly looked the greatest over the past decade or so, probably even longer. So I'm happy to see this up for consideration. I'm happy that things are in line for the development of this corner. As many people know, that intersection of 27 and Plainfield Avenue, from an aesthetic standpoint, can certainly use an upgrade. This will absolutely assist in that venture, and I look forward to supporting it. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Any other comments?
Council President,
Councilman Coyle.
this is a perfect example of blighted properties and redevelopment in the area to create investment through redevelopment. I'm truly proud of this property finally coming together and become a staple in a crossroad of a very busy area of the town. As most people know, even at times there was a bank across the street that was a mess prior to becoming a bank, and now it looks better today. I want to recall in the 90s working with our clerk, painting the abandoned building, also Walter Stolschel. We were all involved to try to clean up that corner property. It went on forever and ever and ever. And sat there. So I'm glad this administration took action. The prior administration took some action as well, cleaning it up. And I'm glad that we kicked a field goal to get this done. So thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you, Councilman Coyle. As for me, I am always happy that we can convert a blighted area into something that will serve the residents and help reduce our taxes. So I'm glad for that. So may I get roll call?
Councilmember Coyle?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel?
Yes.
Council President Patel?
Yes. All right, Madam Clerk, please read ordinance
An or-
22277. Thank you.
An ordinance amending the Township Code and add an address to the list of persons entitled to handicap parking spaces.
All right, this is open to public comments. If anybody would like to make a comment. All right, seeing none, may I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close.
May I have a second?
Second.
A motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Pointer. May I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
May I have a second?
Second.
A motion to adopt by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Shmuel. Madam, any council comments? All right, seeing none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Coyle?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel?
Yes.
Council President Patel?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
Before you move to the new business item, I just want to double confirm that we moved the motion to adopt the prior ordinance 2226. I think we made the council comment, but we didn't move the motion to adopt. We did?
We did.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm good. Thank you.
Just making sure we did that.
Harris, Shmuel,
Okay,
226, you said, right?
okay. All right. Moving on to number 8, new business, proposed ordinance, public hearing set down for Wednesday, August 28th.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Coyle.
on this list, I'd like to make a motion to pull 02231 2024.
So you want a motion to table that?
Yes.
All right, so I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Coyle to table ordinance 2231. May I have a second?
Second.
All right, so that's the motion.
Council President, am I able to speak to this at all?
Wait.
One
Get on
second.
the first one.
Yeah, okay. Can they motion ahead on 8? One second. Let me just confirm with the council.
We're on 8 right now, right?
Yep, and they motioned to table 2231,
Okay. And
But I
you
didn't get
allowed
to-
it,
and they
Right.
seconded it.
second. Okay. And now at this point, you would ask for council comment.
Okay. But we can motion it ahead, even though we're
Ahead
not.
of the other ones that
Other
we
three?
have for introduction?
Yeah, you can take it in whatever order that you need
Okay.
to do, right?
Okay,
All right.
So-
Alternatively, you could tell Councilman Noel to hold off on doing that until that point, but you've already
okay,
let him do it. You've taken a second.
okay.
Oh, sorry.
So what are we doing?
So we can, he motioned it, it was allowed, seconded, so now we go to council comments.
Okay.
So Councilman Coyle, would you like to make comments?
You motion to
Uh,
table, right?
Yeah, and second
I'm
by
going to,
Councilman Schmuel.
Council President, could I go last?
Yeah, that's
All
fine.
All right, can I, thank you.
Council Vice President?
Wow, we certainly are in a rush to table this. You know, we didn't get to the prior ordinances, and we're in a real rush to table this. So here's a spoiler alert, folks. This motion is going to be tabled, not because I want it to be tabled, but it's going to be tabled. And I am upset, I'm angry, I'm disappointed about this. I got over 24 emails. I'm sure my council colleagues did too. Got over 24 emails urging us to pass this. And I think our attorney, Michael Burns, said the other day about not making the perfect the enemy of the good. It's one of my favorite sayings. I use that a lot in my practice. Well, I think that that's what this council is doing here. I think this council is making the perfect the enemy of the good. And now I'm going to move into baseball parlance. I'm a baseball fan, and sure, we like home run hitters. We love our home run hitters. They're exciting. But you know what? Home run hitters tend to strike out a lot too. And I think what the residents of Clara Barton are looking for is to get on base. And they have been quite vocal about this. I think that they are happy to start with this. If we need to amend this down the road, so be it. But they have spoken loudly and forcefully that they want to get on base. And so I am going to reject the tabling, and just go on record and reject tabling this ordinance. I'm very disappointed. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Anybody else?
Council President?
Councilman Pointer?
Thank you. I'll attempt to be brief. First, I'd just like to ask my colleagues, did anyone receive the planning board report that was done last week? Now, I have it because I'm on the planning board, but in the backup, that was not shared. So I'm not sure why or how, but for us to move forward based on recommendations from a planning board study that has not been provided to the council, I find to be a little backwards. Second, any of the amendments that we've done to any other redevelopment plan has included a red line document to that redevelopment plan. Do we have a red line document? We do not. If you look at our ordinance and what this would be changing is the redevelopment plan. Well, if I'm going to look back on our code, I have nothing to compare it against. So I'm not even sure that exactly what would be stricken out, if there's any differences. Like, I want to see the actual document before us. Finally, nothing on the proposed ordinance actually mentions the study by the planning board or cross-references recommendations and comments by the master plan. To me, that it's not proper procedure, because if we're making these adjustments based on other documents, we should reference them. To me, it strengthens the enforceability of any zoning change that we do. This ordinance as written does not address the parking issue noted in the master plan. This ordinance does not address design guidelines noted in the master plan. This ordinance does not address setback guidelines, which still permit up to 10 feet rear buffer, i.e. they would be permitted closer to the rear residential at the back of the property. This ordinance does not address population density, which at the end of this is the underlying issue, in my opinion, to all of this. And finally, this ordinance does not provide any clear vision as to what Amboy Avenue is and could be. So, my ask, in front of everyone today, and I did have a meeting with a resident of the neighborhood and I provided an exact copy, is a revised ordinance with the suggestions that I would like to see considered. Just considered. As a resident, I'm told the council members will have their opportunity to make comment on a redevelopment plan. They will always be able to modify. I asked that earlier this year when the recommendation to send it to the planning board happened. I was shot down by my colleagues. I don't see the other opportunity to actually make impactful change that is actually going to address all of the issues that we see Amboy Avenue. that we have on Amboy Avenue. And to delay it for a month, to possibly consider adding some of these recommendations, I do not feel is of substantial detriment to the neighborhood. From a timing perspective, because it's mentioned that we have to do this fast, right? Residents have been asking, needs to be done right now. I understand. I've been a part of the conversation since 2016. Again, it was my first meeting. However, in those 8 years, as we've noted, there's been a lack of development. So to automatically think that in the next 30 days, all of a sudden Amboy is going to turn into New York City, I just fundamentally disagree with. If you look at the timing, yes, planning board has 45 days. If you delay it the month, guess what? We can have this before us at the last week in September, technically. Right now, we would be at the last week in August, as it currently is, because we only have one meeting. So I understand the concept of the perfect being the enemy of the good. To me, I don't think that what my request is trying to make things perfect. I think it's trying to address the issues at hand to the point where those actions would become effective. Again, I've commented on my approval with the 3.5 stories, but that is only part of the full story. That is why I am okay with tabling this. I understand it's going to make my neighbors unhappy, but if I'm going to sit up here and look to actually tackle the issues that face Amboy Avenue in my purview, I'm going to not do it half-assed. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer.
President.
Councilman Shmuel.
So I'm the new guy here, and for the past 6 months, I think I heard about more about Amboy Avenue than many other topics that we discussed. And looking at this ordinance, first of all, I want to commend the people of Amboy Avenue for coming out and voicing their opinions and their visions. And the many emails that I got, I want to thank you for really putting in the effort of speaking up for your community. But looking at this ordinance, the way that it's presented in front of us, there are many, many holes. And I don't believe that we would do justice to the people of Amboy Avenue voting it as is, and to the people of Edison. I think, in my opinion, it's a, for lack of a better word, it's a Band-Aid. So I can't really support it as is. Tabling it, I think, would allow us a little more time. I like a lot of the stuff that Councilman Pointer has pointed out, if we could incorporate into a new ordinance. But for the time being, I support tabling this ordinance.
Thank you, Councilman Shmuel. Anyone else?
Councilor President.
Councilman Patel.
On Monday's work session meeting, I did raise a lot of concern on the ordinance, and every single resident that came to the podium, they spoke their sentiment. They were promised many things. This is, again, what we are doing is kicking can down the road. I have seen this 8 years, again and again and again. I would say this is the failure of whoever created this ordinance to begin with, if that was the case. And I would put the whole blame to mayor and the council president, because this agenda doesn't come out without their approval. If they have thought through and understood the will of people, this would have been, every single council member would have been taken into the confidence, their input would have taken, and the ordinance would have drafted very well. We wouldn't be on this situation as of today. However, attorney did answer every single question that residents spoke, and they were satisfied with the answer, and they felt at least they are getting something. It is better to have something than nothing. And that's why even on Monday work session, I said, if this is your wish, even though I'm not happy, I would have preferred 3-story. Even if it is this wish and you really want this to move forward, I will be in full support of this ordinance. Again, is it perfect? No. But is any ordinance perfect in this town? No. Is there a chance to improve the ordinance? Absolutely yes. Look back what happened on the speed limit ordinance on Grove Avenue. The same council said, hey, let's do the full-blown study of Grove Avenue, and then we do it holistically. I oppose, but thank you, this council, who allowed me to use the limited, that neighborhood to pass that ordinance. If you look at what happened after that, the study came back and they say, hey, you cannot change the speed. Look at what the impact of kicking can down the road. After 4 months of the back and forth, that ordinance would not have passed. We would not have the speed reduction on Grove Avenue, especially this intersection, which is very dangerous. We are in the similar slot. What I'm saying is asking this council is rethink. We can always start with something. Let's start with something. Show our good intent towards the people of Clara Barton. And we can come back again in 2 months. We modify this. We go to the iterative process until every single council member is satisfied. And I will be supporting, if that's the case, if this council supports today and the ordinance, the way it is written, passes into the next, adopted in the next council meeting, I'll be in full support of any comment or inclusion or any amendment to this current ordinance. I'll be glad to support that. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Councilman Coyle.
Council President, I want to thank my council colleagues for the comments. I do disagree with some comments, but I do want to say for someone who's been on the block of Amboy Avenue for the last 35 years, working with over 5 administrations to try to make Amboy Avenue something better is truly important. And I'm proud of all the people involved from several administrations and several council members that believed in a vision for the downtown. But pointing to Councilman Pointer and the list of things he went through, and everybody knows how thorough Councilman Pointer is and how neutral he is in his thought process. Everything he said is a lot of what's not happened. I mean, first, we've been given this opportunity for a 4-story area to develop. Investors have been aware of it, but not much has been done. We know that only 3-4 buildings have gone up in 30 years. So the rush to say a lot is going to happen is not true. We can only be thankful if something's happened here. But the thought of, in words from Councilman Pointer about discovering parking, so important. Long before the 4-story argument we've had on this block, the members of Edison, Clara Barton section have come to the microphone talking about parking. When are we going to have the parking? And that was truly important. Now, I am aware of the 15 emails I received about this. However, we have been given this on Friday at 5 o'clock. For any council member to vote for this, not knowing that we did not include the business community, would not be fair. We're given a responsibility for all people, and the business community should be part of all people who invest. When I hear from residents who come to this microphone who say the business community does not matter, it would be truly a wrongful decision to not include in this. So as we start to come together and look at a thought process of expert opinions and not just a few people saying what they don't want. And let's not forget, there are personal interests in others who just don't want it in their backyard, who face that business community and have every true right to be here today to say, I do not want a building in front of my home. However, those who live behind a business district, are somewhat aware of being close to a store, deliveries, and so forth. This has been part of the fabric of all downtowns when you move to a downtown. There are adjacent opportunities when you live close to the street. You can walk to the bus, you can walk to the stores. Clara Barton has become a walkable community. But what I ask, listening to Councilman John Pointer, is that we collectively get together with the residents and we sit down and we have a neutral discussion, including all people in this. And another point I've made before, this truly impacts affordable housing, and it is not fair to not include the 4 stories as a component to affordable housing. I'm open to listen to anyone on this dais, and I've sat and spent countless time with residents in Edison who see me on a daily basis, whether I'm gardening or pulling weeds or setting up events, working with the Chamber of Commerce or other organizations that use this. I spent hours and hours with others to discuss it, but we have to include all people when we're doing this and look at truly being committed to a culture that creates an organic opportunity for the downtown. When people say this will be detrimental to my house, there's no factual opinion that's out there next that's going to be detrimental. A $9 million brand-new building is going to be detrimental. So I just leave with, being curt about the fact that we have not included everybody involved in this. And when it comes to affordable housing, we have to see that equal opportunity for a family to be able to afford to live in this town. Having the opportunity to live in the downtown and be a starter opportunity home for you to move into the downtown if you choose is part of our obligation under COA and providing that. By changing this from 4 to 3, you will eliminate people from moving in for affordable housing. And that is a factual statement that could be put together by experts without any reason. And I ask this council to truly look at every opportunity we have here to make sure that we collectively look at experts and bring opinions together. I have no problem with listening to the opportunity for 3.5 stories. And I'll repeat that. I have no problem listening to that. But also, you have to listen to others. And we talk about this half story. What is this half story? There has been opportunities on Amboy Avenue. The half story was livable. The half story can be a restaurant. Under this, it's very vague. Several people have come to the microphone and said this is not what it should be and want something more. So it's been said in a council meeting on Monday. I'm delivering and repeating some of the thoughts of people who came to the microphone, who've been objectors, and who want something different. But let's remove the personal discussion from this. Let's get involved in expert opinions and making sure we're making the right move. Again, council members have mentioned not much has happened. Let's get together collectively and weigh out the pros and cons of what can be done so that we can encourage investment on the block. I have multiple photographs I'm going to share with this council at a different day before this to show the difference of what blight is on the block, and if you'd like to see that on your block rather than a brand new building and a $5 to $12 million investment per property. This is something truly we need to look at. To say we're fast tracking it, to listen to other members on this council, it's wrong to say that. This was given to us on Friday. I was not included in any discussion on this. Councilor John Pointer mentioned who has not received other criteria from the planning board. How can we review this, make a decision, and move forward and not include the business community or those in need of affordable housing? We need to weigh all people, and that's what we're voting here for all people. I thank you, Council President, and I look forward to tabling this.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. As for me, Councilman Patel is right. I am responsible for the agenda. So if I put it on the agenda, the intent is good. I do want to do something about the issue. However, that does not mean if the ordinance is not up to par, I should pass it just because. I believe in taking our time and doing it right is very important, simply because we might not get the political push to do it right. If we do the 3.5 story, then we don't take care of the other issues because there is no political will, then those issues will never be taken care of down the road. And as Councilman Pointer pointed out, there are so many issues in terms of actually the presentation of this. We got this ordinance at 4 p.m. I want it to be on it. I want it to be good. And if it was amazing, I think we would be having a different discussion as to whether or not to pass it. But I do think there needs to be work done. Design standards definitely need to be addressed. Parking definitely needs to be addressed. And as Councilman Pointer pointed out, we needed to be presented with plenty more documentations to see how this is actually impacting our ordinances. So for those reasons, and as, again, Councilman Pointer was really thorough with this, there is no urgency. I understand that this has been on the books for 8 years, and we only had one development, as many of the residents have pointed out. So I don't mind if we wait an extra month, get this done right. And I do hope the administration takes this 30 whatever days that they get and does the job right. So with that said, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Emphatically no.
Councilmember Patil.
No.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes, to table.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes, to the table.
Council President Patel.
Yes. Ordinance 2231 is tabled. Okay. Moving on to Ordinance 2228-2024. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance canceling the $178,970 $9.41, appropriation not needed, its original purpose in and by the Township of Edison.
May I have a motion to introduce?
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for, is that August 26th?
28th.
28th? Okay, to August 28th.
May I have a second?
Seconded.
All right, that's a motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Patil. Any council comments? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Coyle?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel?
Yes.
Council President Patel?
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2229-2024.
Bond ordinance of the Township of Edison providing for the cancellation of $398,996.63 in bond proceeds not needed for its original purpose and to transfer such amount to capital surplus account.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. May I have a motion to introduce?
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, August 28th.
And may I have a second?
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Shmuel. Any council comments?
Council President,
Councilman Patil?
question to administration. Again, I see this as a tactic of inflating the bond amount and then moving the unutilized funds or the not needed funds transfer into surplus. Again, the surplus will end up going part of in operating. You'll end up putting that money in some other projects which the bond was not really bond was intended for. So my question is why we are not canceling the way our first ordinance is. If we don't need it, just cancel the bond. It's not utilized. Why we are moving it to surplus? Is it because our surplus is short or we need money somewhere else? Why can't we cancel the entire that unutilized bond fund?
It's just the mechanism for the transferring into surplus. That's where it would end up going, nowhere else.
I understand, but surplus is not a free money. You'll be using for your regular business, correct? At the end of the day, you'll be moving the money from surplus to some other buckets or doing some other projects.
It just gets transferred to the fund balance, that's all it does, not into our operating account.
Not operating out. How do you use the surplus? Are you not moving the money from surplus to anywhere? Only the surplus keeps building up?
As you all know, when you adopt the budget, there are times where surplus is used to balance the budget.
Correct. So that you're telling the fact here that it means you bond the money, don't use it, move it to surplus, and move it back to somewhere to spend the money. This is a proxy account, and which ultimately, I hate to see this, but this is how our finances are managed in this town, 2.5 years, and we are $100+ million in debt. This is not a good practice, so hence I will be opposing this ordinance. Thank you, Council President.
Sonia, real quick, how old is this bond that we're canceling?
These are old grants. I mean, they go back to 2007, so we're really just canceling all of the old monies that have been just sitting there.
So, Councilman Patil, if you would have asked this on Monday on the work session, I think Ken would have been able to explain this much better. But he did try to explain to it. These are essentially a cleanup that's from 2007 that's been on the books.
Understood, but this is the bond money. We have this council as a choice to cancel that bond or just remove that from your balance because we are not going to use it, not to use a proxy account, which is your surplus account, to move that somewhere else.
I understand.
Thank you.
All right.
Council President,
Councilman Pointer?
just a clarifying question to the business administrator, if I may.
Sure.
Surplus accounts, this says capital surplus account, separate from our general budgeting surplus? Like these have to be for specifically capital improvement projects?
Yes.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Coyle?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
No.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel?
Yes.
Council President Patel?
Yes. All right, Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2230-2024.
An ordinance providing for the cost of living adjustment for certain employees of the township.
May I have a motion to introduce?
Council President.
Councilman Shmuel.
I move this ordinance to be passed on the first reading, published according to the law for further consideration and public hearing set down for August 8th,
28th.
28th, August 28th.
All right. May I have a second?
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Shmuel, second by Council Vice President. Any council comments?
Council President,
Councilman Patil?
I'm happy to support this ordinance, but I'm disappointed that we don't have the building construction code official included in the list. Monday work session meeting, I did ask about that particular department. I was told that we'll forward the ordinance. I did receive, thank you for that. But again, if you go back, the 3 job, I'm not going to say the employees, but the 3 job descriptions were pulled out. But we are now including 2, and we left the building construction code official. So I'm really disappointed, and hopefully that comes back, because that's a department that works very hard. And, you know, it's a tax revenue source, even though it is a nonprofit, but they make $5+ million for this town. And I'm not happy that they're not getting the raise. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you, Councilman Patil.
Council President,
Sonia.
that's not a true statement because everyone is getting a 3% cost of living. These just adjust folks that have reached the cap. So everyone is getting a cost of living, so that's not correct.
I'm not talking about even the the raise here, Sonia. I'm talking about the cap. Even the range should have gone up for the building construction head. That's my point is. Because we don't come back again and again. And if you look at the list, I think some of those departments are towards the low end compared to other directors.
Okay. Madam, any other council comments?
Council President,
Councilman Coyle?
I do believe it's certainly needed to have a cost of living adjustment for the people listed in this criteria have truly worked hard. And if for any reason there's been a mishap in another department that Councilman Patil has addressed, certainly the building department should be looked at, and I'm open to go offline and sit with the BA. I certainly know John Soltez has done a remarkable job at doing great things, and he certainly has the same entitlements and opportunities. So later, I'm open to sit with Council President and Councilman Patil with the BA to discuss this. I'm in full support. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Any other council comments? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Quayle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. Moving on to number 9, public comments on the resolution. There's no one on the list. Anybody would like to speak on the resolutions? You can come on up. Joyce? I recognized you, Joyce. You can come on up. Oh, okay. You can come up here, and then you can ask your questions.
Dr. Nasser, Pleasant Avenue.
You're recognized.
I want to know if Resolution 426-072024 was pulled. It was about the cricket fields.
Nothing was pulled yet.
Okay. All right. So I want to know if everyone is aware of what's happened at Woodrow Wilson. There is a gym that was constructed, and the fields are in disarray. So I think that you need to go ahead and table this until you find out what's going on there. Has anyone talked to the Board of Education, the principal? Right now, the soccer field is missing right now, and if you put the cricket fields where they currently are, that's going to mean that the school cannot have a soccer field anymore. And to me, it is a school team. They should have priority, not the cricket fields. They should not be forced to go to the high school next door. As I understand that there is an architect that is working on reconfiguration of the fields, but the plan has not been accepted. As I understand, the cricket fields do need to move, so I think we're ahead of where we should be. The artificial turf is something that once you put it down, I don't think that you guys can take it out and it'll become a problem. Let's see. Another issue that I thought about on Monday, and I texted a couple of you because I wasn't sure what you're going to talk about specifically, was when team sports are happening at the backfields at Woodrow Wilson, at any given moment, the cricket players come there. I don't know if there's supposed to be a certain time that they're supposed to be there, but it's dangerous and it's also, a distraction to people who are playing softball, baseball, or something like that. And, the ball can go anywhere when you are playing those kinds of games. They really shouldn't be there. Sometimes they listen and they move. Other times they're like, no, we're not going to get out of there. So these are things that I think you need to consider. And I think you should, if you're going to table the other thing, I think you should really table this because you're not ready for this.
All right, thank you, Akhtar. I do understand that there was some communications. So the main history, from what I understand, was there was a shared service agreement, and that is why we were responsible for maintaining this, and then we were waiting for communications from the BOE as to what's going on. Can you elaborate on that, Sonia?
Sure, you're correct in your statement. So we presented this before the council as it connects to the rolling and the maintenance, which is part of the shared services agreement. There was a discussion on Monday with the BOE about a potential plan to make improvements to the soccer field, which would then impact the cricket field. Again, it's up to this body. Even if you do approve it, we don't have to do anything. But again, it's up to this body whether they wish to do it or not. But it is presented based on what we currently have and was approved back in March of this year, including this body.
So the question for you, did they communicate with us that they do have intent to build something there now?
There was a verbal communication, and very, very, very recent this evening, I received during this meeting a communication regarding that. There is not an approved plan. However, there's conversation with regarding to making those changes.
And if we approve this today, does that mean we have to do it, or can we, let's say that tomorrow they come back and they say, hey, we have plans, can you hold off? Can the administration hold off still?
Of course.
Okay, so it's not something just because we approved it, you have to do it.
Absolutely. It's up to this body again it's your will,
Okay.
how you wish to proceed.
Okay, I will leave it to the council as to how they want to proceed with this. But as of right now, that's what we have up there. Okay, anybody else with the council?
Council President, can I make a comment on
Yes.
this? I just speak, on this topic on Monday. Again, we are part of the Board of Ed and Council liaison meeting. This was not discussed. Again, I said it is good to see the turf field, but this is a little different situation. I was made aware that there is an expansion plan. I don't know why we are rushing to approve something, because this will come from the bond fund. And if this body approves today and come back after a few months and say we don't need this, it will get deferred. And then we end up transferring the funds into the reserve, and here you go. So my point here is this is not only the one field, this is a school field. We do have our own township-owned fields that should have been done, a turf field, if that was the priority. We could have done that in Dudash Park. I don't know why we didn't pick our own area to do the turf field, but we are going in on the Board of Ed area and doing the turf field. So I would say that, this is very premature resolution that's coming in. My ask was very simple, just put the dirt, roll it, people are going to use the mat to play the cricket. So let's wait. Again, I'm a big fan of cricket, we all know, and I would love to have the turf field, but let's wait, let's not rush. And if there is no rush, there is no need to approve. I don't know why this body will act now and then recorrect the situation. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Any other comments?
Council President, I just wanted to just make a point of order. We're going to have, if someone chooses to want to pull this, there'll be council comments, which I'm sure may or may not happen. So I don't want to get into a long discussion with council members when this is public time. But to answer a question that came to the dais by a resident, as a council member, I did speak to two Board of Ed members over this week. One board member president was here from the Board of Ed today. It did not stay, and he was well aware of this being on the agenda. So I just want to make that aware for the comment that was made. I did engage, I did speak to someone, and I will add other comments if this was choose to be pulled, but I am full support of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone that wants to make a comment? All right, come on up.
Joy Ship Freeman, 41 Main Street. I just wanted to make a comment on it. 41 Main Street. I just wanted to make a comment on what Akhtar said about the they need to table that for a minute, because I think we need more information on that particular resolution 426. Because the students, you know, I always told people all the time, because I've been in education all my life, and I always say people don't really think about students because they don't vote. And that's why people don't usually think about them. I'll work my way from this. I want to know, okay, let me go back, get on point. Resolution authorizing extending grace period for taxes for the third quarter. Why was that done?
That was,
Okay, wait a minute,
Okay.
listen, let me get it together. Okay, resolution authorizing that. Oh, you got that, that's 383. Okay, 394. Where we getting all this surplus stuff from? We done bought too much stuff now that we can start giving it away? I want to know where we getting all this surplus stuff that we putting on the line, all right? Engineering and design, construction management. I'm like, is that a money pit now?
what number is that?
That's 396. I'm thinking of that being a money pit, because every time I look around, there's more and more money being spent on that. So I would like an explanation for the amount of money we keep investing and investing and investing in that particular place. Okay. On 410, is P&A Construction the new CME? Because that's the name I'm seeing all the time now. I just want to know that for 410 and 411. Okay, our famous thing that we love to do, change orders. I seen the change order for 413 that we didn't know going in that we needed a change order. We didn't know, I mean, like, who does these bids? Do we underbid all the rest of the people and then say, hey, don't worry about it, we'll give you a change order later? Okay, answer that question. All right, I'm going down here real quick. Okay, and and here we go again with another change order for Mini Bville. So I'm just like, really like, whoa, 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 all these change orders and all this extra money that we're spending. You know, I mean, you guys, boy, if I won the $50 million lottery, I would call y'all to help me spend it in 4 months. And now at the 437, I see they're installing pickleball courts at Ulysses Park. I've lived in that neighborhood for a good while, and I've seen more children there going to that basketball court and stuff that I've seen in all the years I've been there. So, and there's an apartment, he always talking about affordable housing. There are a bunch of kids. So I don't have no problem with you doing it, but what are the things are we doing? What are we doing for the children of Edison? Okay, for their neighborhoods when they're walking past my house with their basketballs and all that stuff. Something needs to be done, because we yell, scream, and say these teenagers, they doing this. Where do they have to go? Where are they going to go? Are they going to just all play pickleball? Come on.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. Anybody would like to answer those questions?
Council President,
Councilman Quinn.
my understanding in regards to 383 in the grace period, we had delay in sending out the tax bills, so this is just extending so that no one's penalized for not paying on time, because it would be unfair to penalize someone if we sent out the tax bills late. 396 ties in with 413, yes, 413 in regards to the sports building. With the adjustment on the roof specifications, there needed to be a modification, and this is as trying to be in layman's terms, to the foundation. Higher gauge means heavier weight, which means that you have to be able to distribute that weight. So how I read the change order is it was dealing with the foundation aspect to that. There was comment made on Monday in regards to changing architectural services, and that is part of 396. Inclusive of that are construction management services, pretty much having like another project manager overseeing the project to make sure that timelines and everything remain on time, for lack of better words. That is something that several council members have advocated for in regards to an individual position. I know that this is not that. However, the action would be achieved. And finally, P&A construction. Over the, I want to say at least the last 6 years, they have been the low bidder on our surfacing bids that have gone out. These are for the 2023 roads. My understanding, though, is that there's still contract number 3, which needs to be awarded, so we should expect something along that line. But they have been the common contractor that we have approved, at least to my knowledge, over like last 5 or 6 years. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Anybody else would like to? Okay. As for me, the question about the pickleball court, I believe children can play pickleball too, so it's a good thing for children as well. And I think Councilman Pointer covered everything else. Yeah.
Council
Council President, point of order.
Yep.
Council President, I do realize I didn't tackle the mini BVL. If I recall the backup documentation, there's additional striping. I forget which sport it's for, but
We can ask Sonia. Sonia, can you provide us with the change order for the mini BWL?
Sure, I have Ray here. He can come up and explain to everybody the detail.
I wasn't expecting to be here tonight, so excuse the shorts. As you know, our recreation director was out for an extended period of time while this project was being spec'd out. Upon her return, she asked if volleyball court lines could be an addition to the court surface at Mini BVL, and we accommodated that request.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. All right.
Council President,
Councilman Coyle.
I just want to make comment, for the residents and those who spoke. Change orders are a situation that comes when there are, unforeseen and foreseen circumstances that arise throughout a project. At a small comparison, I don't think there's a person in this room that has a situation in their own home, rebuilding their kitchen or rebuilding the bathroom and hoping to have it come out to be 10,000. They find out it's 12,000. To do a kitchen, to hope that it's going to be under 30,000, you find out it's 45,000. These are fundamental issues that come up, again, foreseen, unforeseen circumstances that arise at the nature of work and contractors. I'm never happy to add more money to a project. No one on this council is. But the fact is, moving forward, this township has received multiple great structures, multiple turf fields, and great accomplishments. I want to thank each colleague here for what has happened now in comparison to the last 20 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. I'll take Walt.
Walt Stoschel, 2118 Oak Tree Road on 397, the grant contract with the DOT for the Central Avenue Bikeway and Sidewalk Improvement Project. I'd like to see that occur. There was a previous plan that didn't get that far, and we'd like to see that you can connect Papiani Park to the Kilmer area and the sports and the parks over there. So that would be a good thing. And the 399, the JCP&L Bikeway project, the Open Space Committee walked that corridor back in December and we took photos, and it's a very doable project. We need to use our utility corridors for bikeways and paths to get our people off the roads and give them alternative ways to get to places other than cars. And this would connect Papiani Park to Edison High School with only crossing one major road, and that's Route 27. And I've got a comment on uh, 448 hiring field turf for the supply and installation of field monitoring and maintenance in the amount of $90,000. The plastic turf companies sell these things as being maintenance-free or low maintenance, so we're spending $90,000. And if we have to do that every year, and the turf lasts 10 years, that's $900,000. You could buy a lot of grass seed for $900,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Walt.
Thomas Lucky, Netherwood Circle.
You're recognized.
Okay. My fellow picklers are probably going to go crazy with me, but 400. I think the council should think about putting in pickleball courts. Woodbridge has put in a couple dozen pickleball courts. South Plainfield's putting in a bunch. There's Clark and other towns. Donaldson Park has pickleball courts with lights, as well as Tamaqua Park in Westfield, all in this area. This Monday and today I played over at Vineyard. There was 12, maybe 16 people. Not a lot of people for the, to play on the 3 courts that were there. I think we should probably think we can probably save we can save that $416,000. I don't know how many courts you're putting in for that 416, but I think there's a savings there. Don't know what the number is, but for the on 425, where you have the resolution to a change order for the Mini Beeville floor that Jim Florida was put in. Went there the other day just to take a look before it was open. It looks fantastic, and I even like the jump circle with the town seal in it. Fantastic job. Really, I'm very happy. That also, the old floor actually helped me hone my pickleball skills by not knowing which way the ball, if it was going to bounce, would bounce. So that, I'm glad that gym is finally. Floor has been finally replaced. It's a long time coming. Then I see a bunch of engineering contracts coming up, totaling well over $1 million when you start totaling them all up. And when you go and you look at for the one for your construction management and the what's called architectural services for the Edison field. I don't know which number that is right now, but okay, that's for that's 396. Talked a little bit about that. You could get into he said, she said when you start doing that. I don't know if they were the engineer of record on the job, but if they weren't, and now you hire a second engineering company, if there's an issue, you're just going to get. People are going to say, it wasn't us, it was you. You changed the scope, it changed this. It also adds to change orders and possibly other confusion. Worked in the engineering arena my entire career. Change orders were, in fact, a part of life, but you want to try to minimize them. I trust that the township put some money aside to cover these change orders. But I mean, once again, my fellow picklers are going to hate me for saying, maybe we shouldn't do the pickleball courts at Ulensis Park. I think it's saturated. Pickleball courts are becoming saturated. I know there's fanatics that'll say, no, I want my own private court, but I think it's saturated. And once again, great job with the floor at Mini Beeville. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from the council? All right, seeing none, can I see anybody else that would like to speak? Huh? On the resolutions. Okay. Seeing none, may I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Patel, second by Vice President. All in favor? Aye. All right, so anybody would like to pull anything for a separate vote?
Council President,
Councilman Pointer.
I'd like to pull 426,
426, one second.
437,
1 second. 426, okay.
437, 439.
437. Okay. What else? Just those two?
There's
What was
three.
the third one?
437 and 439.
439. All right, so Council Winner would like to pull 426, 437, and 439. Anybody else?
Council President, I had the same 426, so it's covered. Thank you.
Okay. 426 is already pulled. Anybody else?
Council President,
Councilman Coyle?
for a separate vote, 383,
383.
and removed from the agenda, I'm requesting 405 and 406.
What was it? Separate vote 383?
Yeah, 383.
And what was the other two?
Removed from the agenda, 405 and 406.
405, 406. All right. Sitting table. All right, so the consent agenda is 378 to 382, 384 to 404, 407 through 425, and then 427 through 436, and 438, and 440 to 44. Actually, make that 466. So may I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion to adopt the consent agenda.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Patil, second by Council Vice President. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Coyle?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel?
Yes.
Council President Patel?
Yes.
Wait one second.
All right, I'm just going to go down the numbering list as there's a lot. So let's start with 383. Councilman Coyle?
Council President, I just want to thank the administration for extending the grace period. In the work session, other council members have mentioned the appreciation of extending the grace period for taxes. I don't think you'll find a resident in Edison that will complain about extending the grace period. And again, what we support and like is that this is for all residents of Edison, extending this grace period. So I look forward to voting yes on this and looking for support for the council. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Any other council members? All right, as for me, I agree. I think we were delayed on our presentation of the taxes. Some of my residents have complained to me that it was less than 2 weeks and they didn't know how much to pay. So I'm glad we are giving the residents a grace period to make sure that they have the funds available and to pay it. Madam Clerk, roll call, please, for 383. Motion to adopt for R383.
Sorry, motion to adopt, Council President.
And can I have a second?
Second.
All right,
Motion to adopt 383. Just want to make sure.
It's just 383.
Yeah.
Motion to adopt Resolution 383, second by Council Vice President. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Coyle?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel?
Yes.
Council President Patel?
Yes. I believe you wanted to table our 405, 406.
Yeah,
Can we do it together?
Yes, Council President, this is for a table. I'm doing a motion to table this. CarMax, this is just a release of their performance. I had several complaints about some lighting issues and criteria of their final review. I just wanted to speak to Hank McNell separately and also go visit the site myself personally, and I would appreciate that, Council President. Thank you.
All right, so may I have a motion to table R 405 and R 406?
Motion to table.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, so that's a motion by Councilman Coyle and second by Council Pointer. Madam Clerk, roll call to table R 405 and R 406.
Councilmember Coyle?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes to table.
Councilmember Shmuel?
Yes.
Council President Patel?
Yes.
405 and 406.
All right. Moving on to R 426, Councilman Pointer.
Given some uncertainties to the current conditions and any proposed scope of work, I feel uncomfortable moving forward with this at the moment. So my request, therefore, is to table it. Thank you, Council President.
All right, Councilman
Second
Pointer.
the table.
All right. Anyway, any other council comments? All right. Just a quick question, Sonia. Since they did come back and communicate with us that they want to move something, do something with that field, right? So we're not be responsible for the shared service agreements that we've signed in case, right? That's the reason we are moving forward, because we have a shared service agreement and we are responsible for maintaining the field,
Rolling and maintaining, correct.
rolling and maintaining the field. But if they communicated with us, they're doing something with the field, we won't be responsible for that portion, right, at the time? would we be in trouble? That's my question.
That may be a legal question. I'd want to defer to counsel, but if we don't do what the shared services agreement requires us to do,
Will we be in trouble?
Council President, if I can make the comment here, because I was involved in that particular meeting where the shared service agreement that happened. It may be with mayor's office. Shared services agreement talks about maintaining the pitches, the cricket pitches. That doesn't mean putting a turf field. So we are going too far in that process. In current context, they are still playing, and I keep saying this, if they can bring the dirt, roll the pitches, it is fine. Once we get the plan from the sport facilities from the Board of Ed, then we can move forward to make because turf fields are permanent fields. There's not going to be the change there. So at this point in time, even though we will still continue to be in compliance of the shared service agreement, as long as we are putting a dirt and rolling those pitches, the way we are doing with TJ, we just did the TJ field, raise here. We did, again, I'm talking about the school field. TJ was the one classic example. We put the dirt, we roll the pitch, we're good. The same thing, my ask is to do the same thing on the Woodrow Wilson until we have the full-fledged plan from the Board of Ed facility management, and then we can, again, I would be the happiest person to have the turf field, by the way, for the cricket. But this is not the right time. So to answer your question, we will not be in violation of any service agreement as long as we follow what we did in TJ field and we do the same thing on the Woodrow Wilson field. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Can you answer this from legal perspective?
No, I think Councilman Patel has it right there. I think that there are certain aspects of the shared service agreement that we have to maintain, that we have to do, but I don't know that this is particularly something that is going to create issues if we delay until we find out more information. Okay.
All right. So may I have a motion to table?
Sorry, I think
we did.
Oh, Sonia, go ahead.
I just wanted to bring Ray up only to clarify what he was doing or what he proposed, what he was instructed to do based on the shared services agreement.
So, council, these pitches are a little bit different. These are concrete pitches. And the problem with these pitches is that the carpeting is all ripped up on these pitches. I certainly agree if they're going to go ahead and do a major renovation to hold off. But what my recommendation to you would be to be past the resolution. That way, if they decide that they're not going to do it, if they decide that it may be years before they go ahead and do something, the resolution's passed. We will not, I promise you, we will not move on that resolution until we get confirmation from the BA and the school board that the plan is, whatever the plan is, but at least we have it in place, it's set aside. We will not issue a purchase order until we receive direction from the BA and from the Board of Education.
Okay.
Council President, just a question to Ray while he's here.
Go ahead.
Okay. You made a point here, and I understand, but if you're saying that, let's pass it, again, I'm against of this, let's pass it. What is your proactive measure if you come back and, Board of Ed says, hey, we have a plan change and you have to relocate the fields? You're still responsible as of today, you in the sense that the townships to still maintain the pitches. So again, I go back to the same philosophy. Even today, when you redid the pitches on the, whether it's TJ or Dudash or on Kilmer, you are putting equivalent to the concrete, the base there, the base layer is still there. Here, what you have to do is probably put a little bit more soil, or rip the field more soil. Again, we can agree to disagree. I am involved in building the pitches in multiple, I would say, the areas, so I know what can happen, what cannot happen. So regardless whether we pass or not, you are still responsible to maintain, and if you're saying just pass it, and if the plan comes in, I will not do anything that defeats the purpose.
Well, so there's two different things that would occur, okay? Number one, the Board of Ed says we're going to leave those pitches in that location. They've already built a concrete pads in that location, okay? We would then go in and put the turf on the concrete. Board of Education comes back and says where that pitch is no longer works because we're moving a field here, we're putting an addition on, whatever. Then you would be into a situation where you would have to remove the existing cricket pitch because obviously it wouldn't be conducive to where it's currently located. And then you would go into, and it would depend on the direction I would receive from the BA and from the Board of Education of what they wanted. You would then be into a scenario where you would build a new pitch. There's a debate whether the concrete pitch is better than the clay pitch, and you and I've had some, extensive conversations on that. So really, it ultimately depends upon what the Board of Education wants to do. My only thought process is that if they don't give us an answer in the next 30 days, we are responsible. That carpeting is totally ripped up on those pitches, right? And I'm concerned about that. I know there is a thought that they put the mat over it, they're good, let them play, they're happy, leave them alone. I can understand that perspective. I just want from our perspective or from the township's perspective, since we are responsible for those pitches, to make sure that they're safe. So either way, I think you can't go wrong in a scenario. The funds don't go reappropriated, they go back into the initial capital ordinance and where they are. So it's not like whatever points that were being made before, they're to be used, those funds are to be used for recreation and solely for recreation. I only would recommend that you do it that way because it gives you as a council and us, if we decide or there is the need agreed upon by the board, it gives us the ability to act a little bit quicker. That's all.
And Ray, the question there is, again, if you rethink what you said on the podium, if Board of Ed comes back and say relocate the pitches, the $68,000 is not going to be good enough for you to construct the two pitches there.
Right,
And
so-
you may not have even the necessary area for two pitches.
So if the Board of Education comes back and says relocate the pitches, then the PO would be void because we never sent it out. And then we would have to reevaluate and decide whether we're going to do a clay pitch, which my guys have become very proficient in, as you well know, or the need is to go ahead and to do a concrete pitch with a turf over it. So, but either way, those funds would be available for us for either option of whatever it is that the council and the board so desires.
And that's exactly why I said, wait for the word from the Board of Ed. It's not that too far. Maybe in 1 month, we should be able to figure it out, whether we need to relocate the pitches or what's going to happen there. But I will leave it to the council. But again, as I said, I wouldn't go forward with something that we don't know. Thank you, Council President.
Okay, thank you.
Council President.
Councilman Coyle.
I'm in support of this. We had a work session on Monday. There's been any new discussion added to this I'm not aware of, but as I see it, and I listen to the sentiments of my council colleagues, but as I look at it, we will not be meeting again for another 30 days. This is an opportunity for a spending line that has a control mechanism with this administration. This is an opportunity to move forward. Cricket is blown out. It is a busy sport. I tried it, very difficult to play, and I'm excited that our township has great fields to play. So if this gives an opportunity for a safer field, a better maintenance opportunity, and when voting on this tonight, if it moves the opportunity forward, it moves the ball forward in sports to improve for young adults and children to play, I'm in full support of that. And again, I'm trusting the administration. This is a $68,000 spend to have a great opportunity. It's not $1.6 million. And again, we have that mechanism in place through our director, who's done some amazing work in Edison and improving things, to our BA. And I will offer my time with my council colleagues to sit down to make sure that this line item has its full communication. Today's point moving forward, I had a board member here, board member present here, and other members of the council who I spoke to. No one has objected, and no one is here today in the audience as residents, objecting. So I believe we're in the right place to move forward, and I do appreciate my council colleagues' comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Any other council members?
Council President,
Councilman Pointer.
just 2 items of note. I'm hesitant to give names, but there have been Board of Education members that reached out to me saying that they had no idea that this was proposed. So being on the Education Liaison Committee, I take that into consideration. Second thing, we are the power of the purse. So if I am uncomfortable with where allocations are going to go because of uncertainties, I will not be supporting. All right, doesn't mean I will vote no, but it's just that I won't be supporting it. Third item, in regards to the cost of this, the proposal and the backup was received July 10th. We have a 90-day period in regards to where that price point is held to. So tabling it for a month to make sure that our ducks are in a row, to me, is not going to cause substantial detriment. It's not going to increase the cost because cost of materials have gone up or cost of labor has gone up. We have that bid price for 90 days. That would be my additional comments. Thank you, Council President.
Councilman Pointer. Anybody else?
Thank you, Council President. I will just make that quick comment here, and thank you, Councilman. I can agree, 90 days, we have 90 days. What the ask is from today through the next council meeting, let's get in touch with the Board of Ed. We'll have the Board of Ed council liaison meeting. Let's discuss through, let's understand their plan, and then put on the agenda next council meeting. Again, I'm a big proponent, but I'm not a proponent of rushing through when we don't know certain things. And that's what I'm calling this out. And nothing's going to change in next 30 days, especially it's going to take time for to build a turf field. Thank you, Council President.
Sonia?
Sure. What I just wanted to add is that this administration, were communicated with by the Board of Ed on Monday, when this was already given to the council, that there were proposed plans, which we have not received any. So just want to clarify, we don't have those proposed plans, and we just found out once this agenda was already set. So again, we still don't have a concrete answer, but again, we presented to you following the shared services agreement what we're supposed to be doing, which is rolling and maintaining. Had we known prior to, of course, we would have done it differently, but we just found out 2 days ago.
Okay. I think as for me, I really want the cricket pitch, and I support cricket, but I do want to hold off because it seems like there is not necessarily a clear picture as to where we're going. As long as we're legally covered, as the council has said, that we should be covered in terms of the shared service agreement, then I'm okay to hold off till the next meeting. Hopefully, till then, the BOE and the administration can have a communication as to what the plan is and what they want to do to move forward. Madam Clerk, we have the motion by Councilman Pointer, second by Councilman Patel. Madam Clerk, roll call to table.
Councilmember Coyle?
No.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes, to table.
Councilmember Shmuel?
No.
Council President Patel?
Yes. All right, moving on to,
Council President, point of order, I'd like to take a bathroom break. I drank one water,
all right,
16.
let's
I'm for
take,
myself, I'm just going myself. Okay, I'm asking, I'm being accused of leaving the meeting when people have to go to the
I
bathroom.
mean, Councilman Patel would like all of us to be here, so we might be taking a lot of breaks all the time. But I hope Councilman Patel is okay with.
No, it's
Council
as long
colleagues.
as no one walks out when somebody's talking, I'm okay. That's what I'm saying, right? Otherwise, just
I mean,
respect each other.
Someone's always talking, so if you have to go, you gotta go. From my perspective, if I'm talking, if one of you have to go, please go. Don't hold yourself over it. All right, moving on to R437, Councilman Pointer.
Thank you, and I'm okay with grouping R437 and R439 together
Okay.
if that's acceptable.
That's acceptable.
In courtesy, though, I feel a little awkward discussing possibly having action with a council member not here who clearly asked. He gave courtesy, like,
So do you want us to just take a 5-minute break? I could use a break too, so.
I'm not sure. I can make my comment at least, and then if you want to hold off, that's fine. Or
All right, I take a motion, do I do a motion? I take a motion for a 5-minute break to.
a motion for the 5-minute recess. I apologize, everyone, for the delay.
May I have
just
a
out of
second?
courtesy.
All right, do we roll call or all in favor? All in favor for a 5-minute break?
Aye.
All right. We will return at 8:45, 46. Oh, 41, sorry. 41, 8:41. Council is back in session. All right, Councilman Pointer?
Thank you.
We're going to combine our
We have
four.
to motion it.
Motion to reconvene.
Motion to reconvene.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilman Patel, second by Council Vice President. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so Councilman Pointer, we're going to combine R437, R439.
Yes, thank you, Council President. On Monday, I had mentioned a request for additional information. I did not receive it, so I do not feel comfortable voting in favor, despite that I understand that these are probably good items, but therefore I will be abstaining. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. All right, I'm going to wait for Sonia to see. All right. May I get a motion to adopt R437 and R439?
Council President, is Councilman Pointer asking just to table these?
No, I'm giving my reasoning that I will abstain.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Sonia, we are waiting for Councilman Pointer brought up on the R437, R439 for the backup documents.
I can be a bit more specific. I had asked for the bid package, which would have the layout in regards to the pickleball courts. I personally did not see it, so that's why I personally cannot feel comfortable giving my stamp. I'm not saying no, because I literally don't know. So that's why I will abstain from that. And likewise, in regards to 439, some elaboration in regards to the items that are there. I don't have the clarity that I need, so I will abstain from that as well. Thank you, Council President.
Council President, those items were added to the Dropbox. There was a Dropbox link from the purchasing agent with the backup, so I don't know how that didn't make it your way.
Okay. Either way, at this point, I will leave it to the council if they want to continue with the motions or not.
Council
If-
President, just point of order. And again, I'm not want to delay a vote, but is there an opportunity to go into, and I know we just went to recess for 3.5 minutes. Is there an opportunity to look for Mr. Pointer, Councilman Pointer, look at this backup? Would that help him if we took a recess for 5 minutes? I just wanted to get clarification, if it's available or if it's not available. I mean, to rush the councilman's reason to abstain, but
And Sonia,
I just thrown that in our decision.
Table it for next meeting.
yeah. All right, so
Council President.
I would either take a motion to adopt or a motion to table from any council members.
Motion to table.
All right,
I would second it if the backup document would be helpful to make the decisions. Yep.
all right. So I have a motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Patel. Any council comments?
So was there a motion to table?
Yes.
By,
Council Vice President, second by Councilman Patel.
okay, to table?
All right, no council comments. May I take a roll call?
Council President, a couple of questions, if the motion is going to be to table. In regards to the bids, does this put us in any bad position in regards to, like, the proposals being changed in the sense of, like, I mentioned the 90-day, the pricing was good on the other one. Does that account for here? I'm not saying personally to table because anyone else may have a different opinion as to the value of it. I believe that the park improvements are a great thing. I've supported numerous resolutions in regards to that. But I need to feel comfortable in regards to what the actual items are before moving forward on my personal end. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Would there be a bid package for co-op, Sonia?
So the co-op does all of the bidding. So these are the items that are actually approved that are on the co-op. We did not go out to bid.
Okay.
So these are already approved equipment done by the co-op. Has nothing to do with our bidding procedures. We're just really going and getting what it is we're looking to get. So part of those items, which we've done for every purchase we've done through a co-op, we give you the list of items. We don't usually put a bid, what the co-op went out and bid, okay? So with that, you have playground equipment at Mini Beeville, Shankmeyer swings, pavilions, 5 bleachers, new turf field, softball field in Kilmer, 10 concrete game tables, concrete cornhole, benches and ground fitness trail at Mini Beeville. So I don't know what other items other than what is listed that you're looking for.
Sure.
I will
So
ask, Councilman-
I'll elaborate then.
Okay.
How many linear feet of bleachers? How many rows of bleachers? Where are those 10 concrete play items going? I understand that they're through the co-op, and that from a pricing perspective, that's going to be pretty much the best that we're going to get. But, I mean, unless someone can answer that for me, I'm still not comfortable voting in favor at the moment.
Council President, point of order, motion to table.
Okay. I mean, the motion's already there. We're just having council comments on it.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments? All right. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. This is to motion R437 and R439.
To be tabled.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel?
Yes.
Council President Patel?
Yes. All right, so that's tables 437 and 439. And I think that covers it for us. Moving on to number 11, oral petitions and remarks, open to the public. Anyone who'd like to make a comment? Come on.
Joy Ship Freeman, 41 Main Street. First of all, I'm going to speak about the holdup of the taxes. There's not anybody that was concerned about the neighbors. It was held up to put political propaganda. And I'm tired of the commingling of my tax money, sending out derogatory stuff about some council members. And the way politics have gotten down today, I think that's very distasteful, and I think it's disgusting. Oh, these are the list of people who all okay with me. Even though those other 2 people or so, or 3 or 4, they voted yes with you 90% of the time. Now you're going to act like a 2-year-old. I'm going to send your name out nasty in the tax. And when you send that propaganda out in the tax, it costs me more money because it weighs more because you put your political propaganda in there. Number 2, I know everybody say, oh, pickleball, pickleball, pickleball. It's a fad right now, but guess what? Kids get scholarships for tennis. And in Donaldson Park, they have the cricket, and they have the pickleball, and they have tennis courts for people to play. They don't just zero it down to one thing. Everything is not, it's not like this. Just to get votes, don't just keep zeroing in on the thing. Oh, I'm gonna get all the senior votes if I do this. You know what I mean? There are other people who live in this town, and I'm tired of the children in this town not having extra stuff to do, okay? They don't have stuff to do, so they're all just hanging out all over the place, all right? And now, the other thing with the commingling of the property, the master plan that was, if the master plan had been completed on time, okay, then we wouldn't be keep bouncing the ball back and forth, 4 stories, 3 stories, this story, that story. Had it been completed on time, we would be past that by now. You know, we just keep on running the same thing back and forth. And as far as money goes, like Councilman Patel was talking about, when I was on the council with them, no, we did, while Kendra Roberts was here, we took all that money together. We handled this new council, everything concise. So all this extra money and all this extra stuff, Maureen didn't have it like that. She gave it to him. We put it down to 2.78. So that money and everything everybody keeps talking about, like, oh, the kind of money that we're playing with now, we're playing with money that's gonna really hurt us later on, because if we keep borrowing and then we got surplus and we got borrowed over 200 million, guess what? When you dance to the music, you got to pay the piper sooner or later. I can hold your tax down until I get elected again, and then when it explodes on everybody, it's a different story. Now, I'm not worried about me so much, but what young parents want to come here? They pay that exorbitant amount of money, all right? Because I can get a senior freeze, but what about, I don't like it that people don't think about children, they don't think about young parents, and they don't think about the cost of living. They just think basically what they can get out of the deal. And with the 4-story buildings, and as they said to me, oh, the business people need to have their input. Of course the business people need their input. They are the ones who give the money to the political people. They, so they put money into your coffers. So you got to understand, you got to see what they want. But don't talk to me about affordable housing. If you're going to have affordable housing, what the kids going to do? Hang out in front of the place? Or go play pickleball with their grandfather? Don't talk about affordable housing if you're not going to meet the needs of the children that are there. And, okay, the tax money, all right, okay. Okay, so I wanted to say that we actually cleaned up the bonds. Maureen had it all together, and we did that with Kendra Roberts. We had a meeting, because we even had a pizza party, because we did all the money together. But as I know, starting right after Tom Lakey left, they blew through money like it was a drunken sailor on the weekend. Like the amount of money, and everybody's just okay with it. Everybody's okay. Oh, you don't know about change orders, change orders. If I had the same people and they did the change order on my kitchen, I'm not gonna let them do the change order on my bedroom. I'm not gonna, if it's always a change order, there's something wrong with it. And last but not least, first of all, anybody knows that a building that's over 50 years old has asbestos in it. So that should be in the specs, that should be in the information before you even start trying to make the building better, okay? So I think there's something wrong going on, and I think it's terrible that we just spend money. I guess it's not your money, so they can spend it the way they do, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce.
Council President, point of order. We were supposed to do a moment of silence in between the oral petition remarks.
After the closing remarks for between 11 and 12.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any council comments? All right.
Hi, my name is Arthur Milstein, 4 Comstock Road.
You recognized?
Thanks. I'm here today because I have a problem with several residents' communal sidewalks. So I live on Comstock Road, and we have a 14-month-old and one on the way. And a lot of times I'll take them for a stroller push up and down Stony Road, CVS, TJ, just to get out. So about a month ago, I was walking on the sidewalk and I hit a pothole. Luckily, nothing bad happened, but I hit a pothole in someone's sidewalk where the stroller went face down. Everything went flying. So I called up the health department and I spoke to, I forgot who it was, and she's told me I gave her the address and that was fine. So then she said they'll go investigate it. So on continuing my walk, I saw many other sidewalks which were completely in disarray. So I called back the health department and she said, Janice Kurkowski, I'm sorry if I'm messing up the name, she'll call me the next day. So she did, and Janice told me to document all the houses in our walk path. I didn't document the town, just where we walk, and bring in the list. So next couple of days I did so, and I attempted to bring the list in, and went to the health department, and first they said, oh, it's zoning. So I went to the zoning department, and they said, no, it's the health department. Went back to the health department, and they said, all right, just give us a couple of weeks. So waited a couple of weeks, and then I called back, and they're like, oh, it's zoning. Went zoning, everyone said health department. Health department then said public works. Went to public works. Public works said, no, it's definitely health department. Now I know it's the health department because 5 years ago or so I had problems with my sidewalk and a neighbor complained, and Janice gave me a violation saying, fix your sidewalk within X amount of time. So, and that's what I did, so I paid the money. So I just don't understand why the health department is avoiding the issue of, because it doesn't cost the town any money, because these are the residents that have to pay the money. I don't know why the health department won't go and give notices to these people saying, fix your sidewalks. I just took some photos I have of around that people wanted to look at these of, now there's holes in it, some of it it's just gravel, some it's even grass, and it's not walkable. So the other result is to walk in the street. Now you're gonna walk it's either walk on a sidewalk where I don't know what's gonna happen, or walk in the street where cars are honking me, and I'm not walking on like major highways, just Stony Road, CVS, TJ Maxx, that kind of thing. So I'm just hoping that, and I even said to the town when it came in the last time, a couple weeks ago, oh, I'm sorry, stepping back. I've left 3 messages for Janice. She doesn't call back. Only she wanted the first list, and it's just, I don't know who's gonna do it. Yeah, and then if you look around, like, you always see people with their strollers or even people with wheelchairs in the streets. No one's using a sidewalk. And I know that the town is helping out, like I saw by the school, Washington, I think it's the elementary, they put up the new signs where you push the button and it flashes lights for cars to watch out that there's people on the sidewalk. But you can't get to the sidewalk because the sidewalks are in disarray. So I'm just hoping that the town will do something. And I even volunteered my services if they don't, because the only cost I see is the time for the inspector to go. I said, I'll even volunteer free of charge. Give me the pad. I'll go put notices on the people's houses. And I'm just hearing silence. So I'm hoping that someone can do something so I can take my son out for a stroll.
Well, thank you, Arthur, for documenting all the neighborhood. Sonia, can you answer Arthur's question?
Yes, I'm going to give him my information because I'd like to get exactly what he sent over. What this typically is, it's a zoning issue. And maybe the attorney can elaborate, Chapter 19, under the code for any violations regarding sidewalks. So if you could just give me your information, exactly what you sent, I will make sure that the code office looks into this.
I went to zoning, and zoning flat out said it's health department. Everyone says it's health department. Zoning, I went to zoning first, they said health department, then health department said engineering, then they said public works, so they're keep passing. But Janice is the one that gave me the violation many years ago, and she's in the health department.
Okay.
And it's the communal sidewalk, so it's the residents' responsibility to fix, not the town.
So we'll take care of it on our end, and we'll make sure to get somebody out there to exactly see
Okay.
what the violation
Yeah,
is.
and it's just on the walking path. I think it's about 40 houses. One of them's even the St. Matthew's school on Stony Road. Even that's a school. They should have a good sidewalk, and even just walk around. And I only document where we walk. If you walk anywhere in the town, I know the town's talking about upkeep and everything. How come they're not forcing residents to upkeep their properties? That's just my thoughts.
So just make sure you get her email and email her everything we discussed, and hopefully we'll move forward on that. Okay? Thank you, Arthur. Thank you for coming in.
Council President?
Just one second. Councilman Coyle?
I did pull up on my phone and on my iPad the entire block of Comstock. There definitely are some defects seen from whatever image this date of time of Google Earth was done. I hope that through your love of bike lanes and walking paths, you can see to it that someone from zoning or Public Works can meet with the resident and just do a walk. He talked about Comstock. I didn't do the whole part of his section, but I do see it on here. But there is 2 sides of a sidewalk, and I just want to note that we're very fortunate to have 2 sidewalks on one street on both sides. So that's quite interesting compared to just one on the entire block. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle.
Thomas Lucky, Netherwood Circle.
You're recognized.
I'd like to talk a little bit about what I classify as public safety. There's no more rules to the road. People, no turn on red is only a suggestion. People go through red lights. Now, I remember people saying, well, it was just pink, but I mean, they're blood red and they're going through it. Mayor sent out a email newsletter a week or so ago, say we're at the staffing levels of 15 years ago. I would hope that there's more patrolmen on the streets. I would hope that the police cars that are sitting to act as a potential deterrent would be staffed and driven around. Now, I know you can't catch everybody at it all the time, but speed through Metuchen. You're gonna, the police are all over the place. It appears to me, I might be wrong, that they're enforcing all the rules. I think Edison needs to do it. More presence out on the street, going and issuing summons. That would, I assume that any violations that are issued go on the bottom line into the township's coffers. Maybe offset some taxes if you start enforcing some rules. People drive no brake lights, no headlights are out. I don't know if you can just start a warning campaign to warn the people that if they get caught, that it goes on a computer file, they get caught again, that's when they get fined. You have to be a little bit more. The police need to be a little bit more proactive in enforcing the rules of the road. I know you took Grove Avenue down to 25 miles an hour between Oak Tree and the Touchin border. Has there been an increase in violations issued? Just there needs to be more of a road presence of the township police. I see the cars. I see your officers driving all over the town. We need to start enforcing the rules. Just today, I was at a light on Grove Avenue waiting to make a right onto Inman by the ShopRite. About 5 cars were waiting to make the right. Guy came around on the left, right around. I mean, you can't see, you can't be everywhere, is what I'm saying. But you need to be more present and enforce the rules. Then my taxes won't go down. I won't qualify for the PTR and all that, and the world will be a better place. So please, I ask that, public safety is that bubbles up as a concern that you council members go and take on. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. And I just want to say that, public safety is very important, and I agree with you that, giving out tickets would definitely help us alleviate some of the crime, the driving recklessness.
Dr. Nasser, Pleasant Avenue.
You're recognized.
So we need to stop being hypocritical. Some of us are trigger happy to say no to the Claiborne ordinance because there may be issues with it. But when there were problems with the cricket field today, and that it might be moved or something like that, all of a sudden we did not want to table it, but effectively we did. So we seem to have a communication issue. From what I saw watching back there and me going on my cell phone, trying to communicate with the people, the powers to be, principals, Board of Education, et cetera, I got information that said that they wanted to table this ordinance. That's the reason why before I even got up there, I was asking that. And I know that I saw Beryl talking to Sonia earlier, and I got the conversation that said that they wanted to table it. So I'm not sure if it's because I have T-Mobile and somebody else has a different carrier and there's a problem transmitting messages, but the message is not the same. Another thing that I have is a concern about the agendas. It's not fair to me, it's not fair to the council or any of the ordinances that are given at last minute. If we're given them, and maybe in this case it only arrived at 4 o'clock, but if we had that ordinance earlier, perhaps I would have felt comfortable. I'm sure that many of you would have felt a little bit more comfortable as well with that ordinance, and maybe we could have had a better discussion dialogue on Monday, and today, maybe we would have had, maybe we wouldn't have tabled it, maybe we would have been able to work through it. So I wake up today wondering if I am in a parallel universe. So the following was said on Monday. We have 2 options. We can either vote it down and start the comprehensive planning process anew. However, I believe Claiborne will strongly oppose this delay moving forward. We also heard, do not let perfect be the enemy of the good. We then heard that we've spent a long time talking about Claiborne. So effectively with that comment, and tabling this, we are gonna continue to talk about Claiborne. I would love to stop talking about Claiborne. I'm sure you wanna have me not talk about Claiborne anymore. Another conversation we had from legal was we can always send further amendments. So as you know, on Monday, I took exceptions with some of the languages that I saw on the ordinance, but effectively after talking to people and talking to council, et cetera, I said, you know what, I can live with it. At least we're trying to do something. But today we tabled it. But I'm not surprised because since 2016, effectively we've been tabling Clara Barn. There's a whole lot of blame to go around for how Clara Barn is the way it is. I blame myself for trusting the master plan process. I went to the meetings, spoke for 2 years. I trusted that the words that we said would have probably meant something. I expected the planning board to, if they needed to do a study, they would have done that. And instead, we had to come to the council and say, please, please, council, they're not doing anything. Can you go ahead and do some kind of ordinance or a repeal or something like a resolution or repeal? Then you have an ordinance. We're not really getting anywhere here. So the failure for the planning board to have studies is something that I've consistently said before. They have the money, but for some reason they are not spending it. And I know that you can't go ahead and control them. They have their own reasons for why they do what they do. So I do blame the planning board for that because they really could have gone ahead and done this study and we would have had all this information and the information would have coincided with the master plan and everything would have been wonderful. But that's not the world that we live in. Now, I blame the council also because for 2 months they dragged their feet with the repeal of the ordinance, and then we had the resolution. Had we not spent so much time going back and forth, then perhaps we would have been able to get this ordinance sooner, and then we could have gotten all the verbiage in the master plan. I'm hoping that I'm not giving one of you a headache up there by me speaking. So, Clara Barnes have done everything that we were told to do. We were directed by the mayor to collect data to develop 2 properties, a gas station at the J Dynasty. We got that feedback and we went to the mayor. After all the hard work that we did, all of a sudden, those 2 properties were not something that we could do anything with anymore. Then we continued to meet with the mayor and he promised that July 15, everything would work out. And I believed him, we all believed him. And I stopped coming to the council meetings, as you guys are all aware, because I did not want to bore you about Clara Barn, and I thought everything was going to be done. So as a Hail Mary, we saw that ordinance that was tabled today. The mayor and his team wrote an ordinance that, again, we did not receive until last minute. So my question is, was legal involved in this? If so, why is it that every time that we have something to do with Clara Barn, there's always some kind of a problem with it? Can I get an answer real quickly right now or maybe later?
I'm sorry.
I want to know if that ordinance that was the one that was tabled.
You have 1 minute left, so if you want to.
Can I have that at the end? All right.
Okay.
So I texted the mayor today and I told him I don't think we have the votes for this ordinance. I didn't get a response. What is a resident supposed to do when the planning board, council, and mayor failed us and we have broken promises? Time and time again, we are short with 1 vote to do something. Spend enough time coming up here. Maybe I should be one of those votes. Today, could we have had any of Councilman Pointer's changes to the ordinance done? I do believe that Councilman Pointer does have some good points, and I think he means best. But you have to understand that we have a concern about how everything has been going with Clara Barn over the last 8 years. What is the pathway forward? Is that it?
Yep. Thank you, Akhtar. Council, would you like to answer that question?
Which aspect of it? With respect to the ordinance itself?
Yes.
Yeah, my office wrote it. I don't know. They wrote it in order to address the issue that was brought up, which was the 3 stories, 4 stories issue.
Okay. I'm not sure if that is the fully, but we're going to take this offline and we can have this further discussion. Thank you, Akhtar. Anybody else that would like to make a comment? Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sambasiva Gangula. I live in Woodbrook Corners.
Can you repeat your name again? Sorry.
Sambasiva Gangula.
Sambasiva Gangula. Okay.
Yeah, I live in Woodbrook Corners community, 45 Sagamore Avenue. So I have applied for the zoning permit last year for the adding addition to the home, and there is a condition in our community where the neighbor has to sign the agreement for attached homeowner because of the duplex home. So my neighbor is not willing to sign. It has been pending with him from last 1 year. But I'm going to zoning board, planning board, all those things. But the only way I'm looking for a solution, how can I, because my neighbor is not cooperating. I'm looking for a solution how I can overcome to get the attached agreement to be, to make an amendment to the agreement or, the authorization letter so that my neighbor can at least, timely he can sign within some condition. But he is putting a lot of conditions, but nothing is not, it's not moving ahead. So
Okay, I think we had this discussion,
So you have a deed restriction,
Right.
okay? I'm going to try this one more time. The planning board can't grant you the relief that you are seeking without your neighbor agreeing to it. Do you understand that?
yeah, I understand.
Okay. Regardless of what paper or form the township asks for, even if the township said, we don't need any form, we just need to know that your neighbor's okay with it. Legally, they can't grant you that relief without your neighbor saying it's okay. Okay? Because your deed restriction says that you need your neighbor's permission to make the changes that you want to make. If your neighbor is not being cooperative, the township, the council, the planning board, zoning office, none of us can do anything to force your neighbor to be cooperative with you. Regardless of what form we want or what we're asking for from the township's end of it, the board that you are going to for permission to do the renovations that you want to do doesn't have the legal authority to let you do those renovations without your neighbor saying it's okay. So if you need to do that, then you need to go to the Superior Court and get a court order for cooperation. That's it. That's all I can tell you.
So
Yeah, I agree. The form that was introduced only about 6 years ago, that the form authorization form was introduced. Earlier, there's no form for adding. That was not there 5 years ago. Right, the people have built it in the community without that neighbor consent.
I'm not too familiar with the exact details, but if it is a deed restriction, as the legal counsel said, you are going to be held up by legal.
Yeah, I agree.
courts,
I
yeah.
agree. But my deed doesn't have any of those restrictions listed on my sale deed when I purchased in 2014. My deed doesn't have all the information what attorney was saying. So.
All right, so I think this is something maybe a legal case would be a better
Yeah,
option.
he needs to talk to an attorney.
Yeah, I would recommend that you talk to an attorney that can, help you guide getting this, because I'm not sure what the exact details are.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's something that as a council or as a planning board can grant you the right because then we'll be taking away the right of your neighbor to have a say into his building, right? So we cannot necessarily grant one person the right over another. We have to be fair to everybody, right?
Yeah, that I think the farm is causing all this, right? The farm it's there. It's only consent is required on the farm, right? That farm was introduced by township back in 2015-16. So that was causing
But
all
as
this.
the legal counsel said, even if there was no form, if
In the past,
he still needs to allow it to happen. He could say, like, if we go in front of the planning board and he comes and says, as his neighbor, I don't want him to do this to my house, then the planning board won't have the right to do it. So I think this is something maybe you might need to get an attorney involved and work to see how you can solve that issue. Unfortunately, I don't think this is the board that can help you. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
Council President.
That's President.
Councilman Belatti?
I just want to correct our attorney. Nowhere in the deed restrictions states that he needs to take the permission from his neighbor. The deed restriction only specifies the look and feel aspect of the property. Just want to make it clear that
nowhere it mandates the permission from the neighbor. However, we created our policy, it's a policy decision from the township that we created this form. And I think, yes, a resident can engage the attorney, but if this township can, and if attorney can do due diligence and say what best we can do and guide, I'm not talking about just one resident because we have 3 more cases. They are talking about this topic. If something was done in the past and we are not doing that, we need to look back because, again, I'm not recommending, but we don't want any lawsuit on a township for giving a different treatment to the residents. So I will rest my case here. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Patel.
Council President.
Councilman Coyle?
2 things. First, I'm interested in getting together with Councilman Patil. I know the first discussion we had was that the neighbor was absent from communicating with the owner. And I know Councilman Patil has a long history with some different residents in that area. I'm willing to take time to politely find or see if we can communicate to say, would you please respond? Of course, we can't lean to say what he should do or not do. And that's something I'm willing to put the time into, but I fully support the fact that we know of today, which is the deed restriction or the form process, only because, the same people, on Amboy Avenue who live behind a lot don't want a large building next to them, have a personal interest in saying, hey, I don't want this, and that's their right. No different than the person who's next to your home, which is a small 1-story ranch that were built, in the late 80s, I believe, for that purpose. And that is part of the process. You don't want a large home next to you. You want to have that permission process. So, I can understand part of that being a nearby resident or attached to. So we can't go, the attorney said, we don't have the jurisdiction, but I'm certainly open to sit with Councilman Patil or any other one on the council to try to politely find the resident to see if he'll communicate and put him in touch with you and your attorney. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Anybody else that would like to speak? All right. Anyone who would like to speak for the second time? All right, no rebuttals. May I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close?
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Pointer. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Councilman Coyle?
Council President, council colleagues had mentioned this before to do a moment of silence for members of the Township of Edison. And I'll start with Lieutenant Don Ship, Howard Tarlow, firefighter, and George Ellis, who worked in the TV production room, World War II veteran. Just a moment of silence, Council President. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Moving on to adjournment, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Pointer, second by Council Vice President. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting has adjourned at 9:19 p.m.